Okay, today I'm going to show you a very easy trade that you can make whenever it presents itself and extract a lot of money out of the market very easily. Okay, I'm going to give you the exact entry and the exact exit to get in the market and then get out of the market with some easy, fast profits, all right? Then I'm going to show you how this works in a down market. And then I'm going to show you at the end how you use this in a market crash to make explosive profits very quickly, okay? So make sure you watch this whole video from start to finish. You want to pick up all the nuances of this trade and know exactly when it presents itself, how to use it properly. It's very simple. It's just you need to know when it's available and you need to watch for it, okay? I'm going to show you today how to get in, exactly how to get in, exactly how to get out and make a lot of money, all right? You're going to like this one. You might want to take some notes. Let's get started. Okay, today I'm going to show you a very easy trade to get in and out of the market and make profits using the VIX. This is a very powerful strategy. You're going to want to learn this, okay? It's very simple. But if you're not familiar with the VIX, it's a volatility index of the S&P 500. It's called the VIX, V-I-X. And it will tell you when volatility has entered the market and it tells you when volatility has left the market. And it's very easy to read, right? And what you'll notice is that when the VIX spikes, right, it doesn't stay spiked for very long. It comes back down relatively soon, okay? There's no time frame where the spike of VIX went up and stayed up for a long period of time. Now, if you look back, this is when Trump did the Liberation Day tariffs, right? A lot of uncertainty entered the market that day. But look at the VIX. It spiked over the next handful of days, but it didn't stay up there very long, right? It doesn't hover around high volatility. It's pretty predictable that once it spikes, it's going to come back down relatively soon. So you can use that to your advantage in trading. And I'm going to show you a system that you can use in a few minutes. But I just want you to understand this. When VIX spikes, it generally comes back down relatively soon. If you look at the history, every time it spikes, it comes back down. It doesn't stay up there for a long period of time, okay? Now, if you look back further, you can see during the 2022 period, it did kind of spike up and down a lot throughout the year. And that was a down market for the entire stock market, went down that entire year, right? And if you look back to 2020, well, gee, the VIX spiked really high. There was a ton of fear came into market back then. We all remember that, right? But even with all that fear, the VIX still didn't just hover up there. It still came back down relatively soon. So you can learn to trade all of these spikes in the S&P 500 and make enormous amounts of money. And I'm going to show you how right now. So let's move ahead. All right, the first thing you want to do is you want to draw some parameters, and I'm going to give them to you right now, okay? You want to get in to the market when the VIX goes above 30. Pretty simple. So you draw a line right here at 30 on the VIX, okay? And there's your line. And you make that green because that is exciting time. That means the market has now entered a time where it's on sale. All right, and then you say, okay, I'm going to get out of the VIX when it goes below 21. And you're going to draw a line right here at 21. Very simple trading strategy, okay? And you're going to make that one red because that is when you get out of the market. Very simple. So you draw these lines, okay? And you say, okay, when the VIX goes above the green line, I'm going to buy the S&P 500 index, which is the SPY. All right, if you're not familiar with the SPY, it's an ETF of the S&P 500 SPY. Okay, there's other ones that are similar to it. I recommend the SPY for this trade because it has a ton of liquidity. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. It's simple trade. You draw your lines right here on the VIX chart. Okay, I'm using tradingview.com. It's free. Anybody can go and get a free account. You have to log in and set it up, but it's free for anyone to use. So you can do exactly what I'm doing. You draw your line right here at 30. You draw your other line right here at 21. It's simple, right? Simple. As soon as the VIX goes above 30, you buy it. As soon as it comes below 21, you exit. And what are you buying? You're buying the S&P 500 index, SPY. Okay, now you can mix and match that ETF with others if you want, like the QQQ or the SPMO or your favorite index ETF. But make sure you're doing something that is following the index, an index ETF. Don't just do any stock, because this volatility index tracks the S&P 500. So if you're going to trade an index based on this trade, you want to use an index that's based on the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ. The QQQs works as well, but the S&P 500 is what I recommend, okay? Now I'm going to show you a back test of how much money you would have made, because the VIX doesn't always just go up like this and come back down like that and make these really clean, easy trades. It has some messy trades, and I'm going to show you some really messy one back in 2022. Now, if you were trading back in 2022, then you'll know that this was a down market, okay? The VIX was spiking, coming down, spiking, coming down, spiking, coming down. It did this several times. The whole time it did this, the S&P 500 was going down for the year. The market went down on, I believe, over 12% that year. It was a down year, okay? So I'm going to show you how the VIX would have performed in that year. This simple trade would have made you a lot of money. And I'm going to show you how it performs in a good year, making you a huge amount of money, okay? So let's look at a little bit of history here. If you go look back in 22 of the S&P 500, all right? And I started on November 30th of 2021. And that was when the VIX broke above 30, okay? It was coming out of this big uptrend right here. It had been trending up for all of 2021, and then it came below, and I just wanted to get a whole year in here, so it came below, and the VIX spiked above 30 right here on this day, so the next day at the open, you would have bought, okay, and that's the green bar here. So if you would have bought the VIX right then when it broke 30, right, and you would have sold it when it went below 21, which was now on December 8th, so about 9 days later, you would have made 1.4% of your money. Now, I know it's nothing earth-shattering, all right? But hang with me. Let me show you. And then I'm going to show you how you make some huge profits at the end, all right? Now, you keep doing that. See, I'm going to keep trading this VIX strategy, all right? And you go to the next one. You just keep following it. You watch it. And the next time it breaks above 30 was on this date right here. So the next morning, you would have entered your trade on January 24th. Well, you would have held it until the VIX went below 21, and you would have got out of February 10th. You would have made 4.4% on your money. Okay, not earth-shattering, but still hang with me. Let me show you the end, okay? You're going to like it. All right. Now, if you want to learn my whole trading strategy, I have a free guide below. There's a link in the description right at the top. You can download it. It shows you everything I like to do, and you can follow along. But this is how you trade this particular one strategy. So in the next instance, when VIX goes above 30, would be right here. So you get in right here on February 23rd, right? And you buy it, and then VIX would get you out, go below 21 again on March 28th, and you'd make 4.8%. All right, well, now look at this. Ooh, the market's really starting to swoon and go down. If you notice this trend line, I drew this yellow trend line right here, right? So the S&P 500 is trending down this whole time for the year. I don't know if you remember that. You can go back and do your own back testing to confirm what I'm telling you. But it trended down that whole year, right? So the next entry for the VIX was right here. And it got you in on April 22nd. Well, you would have stayed in through this big swoon, this consolidation period, we'll call it whatever you want to call it, another double dip. And then it got you out on August 22nd. Well, that trade, you would have lost 4.1%. Okay, so not looking so great there, but hang with me. Next trade, you get back in. VIX gets you back in at September 23rd. It gets you in because it breaks above 30 one more time, and it gets you back out on November 25th. Well, that time you made 8.4%. Okay, nothing sounds that earth-shattering until I add it up and show you this. And then I'm going to show you how to make explosive profits. This is just normal profits, right? This is the VIX. What it did is over a period of 2022, you made a 14.9% gain just by doing this simple enter and exit strategy based on reading the VIX. In the meantime, the overall market went down 12%. So while everybody else was just holding their positions, perhaps in the market, and the market went down 12%, and they were just kicking and screaming, wishing it would go higher, maybe trying to sell some cover calls, maybe trying to do something to get income, where you were just trading in and out of the VIX, and you made 14.9% return on your portfolio while the market went down 12%. That's pretty darn good if you ask me, okay? I don't know anybody else who beat the market by that much during 2022. This is a simple strategy that anybody can do, all right? You might want to rewind this. I may not be explaining it 100% clear. I might be confusing you with all these lines and numbers. I'm trying to make it simple. But to go back to the VIX, it's very simple. Here's all I did, right? When it went above this green line, I bought the S&P 500. When it went below the red line, I sold it. It went below the green or above the green line, I bought it. It went below the red line, I sold it, and on and on. And that's all I did, okay? That is the strategy I followed, and you can make good returns. Now, let me show you what happens when you get to a big day, right? So now you get that year presented a lot of opportunity to make money relatively to the market when it was going down. The market went down the whole year. Well, people who were trading the VIX made money that year. Well, the VIX can make you money every year, no matter what the market's doing, okay? Now, let me show you over in the big spike. right here, you got this big spike. Well, here the market went up above 30. You would have got in right here and you would have got out down here. Well, this would have netted you a 19% profit just in one trade, okay? Now, I'm going to extrapolate that a little further. I know a lot of you guys out there, a lot of you gals out there, hear people tell me in my comments, they ask about TQQ and some leverage products. And I talk a lot about leverage products in some of my strategies, mainly leaps. Okay, if you want to learn my strategies, again, there's a free cheat sheet below. You can download it. There's a link right at the top of the description. And it shows you how to think in different market phases during the cycle to execute the right trade, right? So what you're going to do with this trade is you're going to wait for it to present itself. Well, if you waited for this one to present itself, this would have been your only trade that you would have done in 2025, because that's the only time the VIX went above 30. And then you would have sold it when it went below 21. You would have bought the SPY and sold it. Well, you would have made 19% that year, which is better than the S&P 500. But what if you were to leverage that by buying just a double, not a triple TQQ, but just a double, an SSO? Well, if you buy the SSO, then you make roughly 39% return on your money just by leveraging this trade. And why would you leverage a trade like this? Because it's relatively safe trade. And what I mean by that is you're buying the SSO, which is a SPY double index. So we know the VIX is going to spike. We know the VIX is going to come back down relatively soon, right? Gee, you would have got in right here, bought the SSO, and then it would have spiked. The VIX spiked, so your SSO would have went down a lot more. You had to feel that pain a little bit, but you know the comfort that this VIX comes back down relatively soon. So no matter where you buy it along here, if you want to buy it up here or anytime you want, the higher up the VIX is, the more money you're going to make. But what the simple plan is to buy it at 30. And if you had done that, you wait this out, well, you got it on sale. Maybe you didn't get it at giveaway bargain basement prices, but you still got it on sale because you know that the VIX is going to come back below 21 relatively soon. Okay, it just doesn't stay that high very long. So can you capture this whole move? Well, if you can, God bless you. You know, more power to you. That's great. But most people can't capture that whole move. Now, you can be a little bit more prudent and say, hey, gee, I'm not going to buy it until it gets to 40, right? You're really going to limit your trading, though, because very seldomly does it go above 40. You wouldn't have had many trades during 2022. You wouldn't have made any money off a VIX trade because it never went that high. So 30 is kind of a standard now. There's a lot of guys out there trading VIX strategies. 30 is a relative common way to measure it, right? Buy it above 30, sell it below 21 is pretty standard for a lot of people. And I'm not saying it's the best strategy and everybody should be doing it. I'm just saying it's a strategy. I just showed you how powerful it can be. I'm recommending that you study this. You go back, watch this video a few times, take some notes. This is a strategy you can add to your toolbox and you can use it whenever it presents itself, all right? It's not going to present itself all the time. It's not just one strategy you want to use for your whole portfolio and say, this is all I do. No, it's not that type of strategy. Just a quick trade. And hey, look at the market is selling off. The VIX is spiking. I'm going to jump in and take advantage of it, right? And if you had done that in 2022, it would have worked out really to your benefit because you kept taking advantage of the VIX spike, right? There's not always VIX spikes, but when there are, learn to embrace volatility. Don't fear volatility. A lot of people get worried when the market starts crashing. I don't, right? I used to, but honestly, I don't anymore. I get excited when the market crashes. Why? Because I know I'm going to leverage up and I have a strategy in place to do that. Again, if you want my strategy, you can look at the free guide below. It's the top link in the description. It'll give you some guidelines to what I do. But I get excited when volatility comes in the market because I know I'm going to leverage up and take advantage of it and make more money than I've made all year. That's just the way it works. And all this low complacency stock movement, right? And I'm going to go back to the S&P here. When the S&P is just going up like normal, right? You can make money selling covered calls. You can make money selling some cash secured puts. You could do your wheel strategy. You can do anything you want. But when this happens right here, this big crash, that's when the serious money is made. Okay. And that's what I do. That's the strategies I use. Yeah, I make money here all the time too. Don't get me wrong. The market's going up. I'm going up with it. But when this happens, I take full advantage of it, and that's when I pile the money into my account quickly. You can do the same. This is a simple strategy. I hope I made a lot of sense. I hope you understand what I said. If not, put some comments or questions. I'll be happy to answer them, or download my guide. It's right above the top of the description, and it's free. All right. Thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you soon.